When my sister got engaged, my parents hosted an extravagant dinner. When I got engaged, my mom said, "We'll celebrate when it's official, if it ever is." So, I kept it to myself. 2 weeks later, they saw our wedding photos in a magazine interview about a venue they could never afford. Hey, Reddit. When my sister Vanessa got engaged, my parents acted like she had announced world peace. They threw her a catered dinner, bought new outfits, invited half the family, and toasted her as if she'd won an award. When I got engaged, my mom didn't hug me, congratulate me, or even pretend to be excited. She just said, "We'll celebrate when it's official, if it ever is." Her words hit me like cold water. I made a decision I never thought I would. I kept my engagement private. No big announcement, no family dinner, no group text, just silence. Tom understood right away. My parents had always treated Vanessa like the favorite child and me like the backup. Every achievement I had was met with lukewarm praise, while everything she did was seen as amazing or perfect. Even her failed engagements were treated like significant events. So when Tom and I started planning our wedding, the idea of involving my family felt exhausting. We wanted joy, not judgment. We picked a venue we instantly fell in love with, a quiet historic estate with olive trees, soft golden light, and a stone terrace overlooking a river. It wasn't flashy or crowded, just peaceful. It wasn't cheap, but it wasn't outrageous either. We saved for months, cut unnecessary costs, and paid for everything ourselves. No loans, no parents' money, no strings attached, just us. And on our wedding day, it was magical, small, elegant, filled with the kind of genuine love my family rarely showed. After the ceremony, the venue photographer asked if we'd participate in a short editorial-style shoot for a local lifestyle magazine. They wanted to feature the venue and a few recent weddings. We were already dressed, and the light was perfect, so we agreed. The shoot lasted about 20 minutes. We gave a brief interview about choosing simplicity and intention. We signed a release form and then didn't think about it again, assuming it would be a small feature only venue enthusiasts or brides-to-be would see. We were wrong. On Saturday morning, Tom was making coffee while I adjusted the kitchen window blinds when my mom sent a photo. No words, just the image. It was the magazine, our wedding photos, the full editorial front and center with a headline that felt like gasoline on family drama. A hidden estate, a venue few can afford. Tom froze when he saw it. "Oh no," he whispered. I hadn't even processed the shock when another text from Mom came through. "Wow, look at you. Must be nice to waste money." My chest tightened. Suddenly, all the joy from our wedding vanished. Mom wasn't happy for us. She was angry, jealous, and embarrassed, and now she had proof to twist the narrative into something she could control. Mom called. I answered, feeling dread in my stomach. Her voice was sharp enough to cut glass. "How could you get married at a venue like that and not tell us?" "We wanted something small," I said calmly. "We paid for everything ourselves." "That's not the point," she snapped. "Then what is the point?" "You made us look poor." I blinked. "What?" "You know your sister is planning her wedding in a community hall. Now everyone's asking why her sister's wedding was in a magazine for wealthy people." My hands started shaking. "Mom, our wedding wasn't about Vanessa." She scoffed. "Everything is about family image, and you made us look ridiculous." Tom stepped closer, listening. I stayed calm. We didn't know it would be such a big spread. "Oh, stop lying. You always need attention." I laughed, but it wasn't from amusement. It was tired. "Attention? You ignored my engagement completely." "That's because it wasn't official yet," she snapped. "Mom, I invited you to the ceremony. You didn't come." That invitation was insulting. Too last minute. "You would have criticized everything anyway." I said nothing. Then came her low, bitter sentence. "You embarrassed us." Vanessa is humiliated. There it was, the real reason. Not love or concern, just jealousy and comparison. Just a scoreboard. Vanessa had to win. I swallowed and finally said, "Mom, why does it matter where we got married? Why does everything I do threaten Vanessa?" Mom didn't hesitate. "Because she deserves to have the nicer things." She struggled more. I froze. Struggled more? Vanessa was the one who had everything handed to her since childhood. Birthdays, gifts, vacations, attention, free rent, paid bills, everything. Meanwhile, I paid for my education myself, worked long hours, lived quietly, and never asked for anything. Mom, Vanessa's life wasn't harder. It was easier. Mom gasped like I slapped her. How dare you say that? She needed support. And you gave it to her. I said, but you never gave it to me. Her voice rose. You're being ungrateful. I felt tears burning in my eyes. Ungrateful? I planned a wedding without asking you for a single dime. I didn't burden you, didn't demand a celebration, didn't ask for approval. Somehow that still wasn't enough. Tom squeezed my hand. Mom exhaled shakily. You should have told us, she whispered. And you should have cared. I whispered back. There was a long silence, heavy and suffocating, until she finally said, You hurt this family. I closed my eyes.
No, Mom.
You hurt me the moment you decided my happiness didn't matter unless it matched Vanessa's. She inhaled sharply. What is that supposed to mean? And that was the moment I finally decided to speak the truth I had held inside for years. I took a breath and said, Mom, the reason we kept the wedding private is that I knew you wouldn't support me. My voice didn't crack or tremble. It landed sharp, clean, and honest. On the other end of the line, my mother went completely still. How dare you say that to me? I took a calm breath. Because it's true. You always think we favor Vanessa. Mom snapped. You make everything about jealousy. Mom, I whispered, you threw her an engagement dinner for her third fiancé. When I told you about my engagement, you said, and I quote, if it ever becomes official. That was a joke. No, it wasn't, I said firmly. And even if it wasn't funny. She sucked in a breath as if I'd accused her of a crime. You're too sensitive. No, I said softly. I'm just finally being honest. My mom's voice dropped low. You embarrassed us. By getting married? I asked. By getting married at a venue we could never afford, she hissed. You know how that looks. Your sister is planning a simple ceremony, and then you appear in a magazine like some celebrity. Suddenly it clicked. It wasn't the photo or the venue. It was comparison. Always comparison. So this isn't about me, I said quietly. It's about Vanessa. Mom didn't respond. That was my answer. At 1:17 p.m., my phone buzzed again. This time it was Vanessa, a long message full of rage. Thank you for stealing my moment. Everyone is talking about your wedding. Mom said it looked like a celebrity shoot. You ruined everything. You're selfish. I stared at the message. Selfish.
Selfish.
Selfish. The same word they used anytime I didn't let them control the narrative. Tom leaned over my shoulder. Are you okay? I nodded slowly. I think I'm finally tired. 10 minutes later, Mom started a family group call. Dad was included, as was Vanessa. I answered. Tom sat beside me, quietly supportive. My mother's voice came first, furious but shaky. We deserve an apology. For what? I asked calmly. Dad jumped in. For the way you blindsided this family. You snuck around and embarrassed us. Dad, I said, you didn't even show up to my wedding. That's because we didn't know you were getting married. You didn't ask, I said. You didn't care. The silence that followed was uncomfortable. Dad cleared his throat. You should have waited. Held a real wedding. One Vanessa could be part of. I blinked. A wedding Vanessa could be part of? Vanessa had nothing to do with ours. Vanessa finally snapped. You should have told me. I'm your sister. I breathed out slowly. And when you got engaged, did you tell me? Or did Mom call everyone before you even got home? Dead silence. I continued. When you got engaged, I supported you. When I got engaged, Mom doubted me. You laughed. Dad ignored it. No one argued because they couldn't. Her voice cracked, angry and desperate. You made me look poor. My stomach dropped. That was it. Not jealousy or hurt, not family, just status. Vanessa, I whispered, stunned. You think my wedding was about making you look poor? You know we can't afford places like that, she yelled. And then you show up in a magazine. Now everyone is comparing us. I closed my eyes. Oh my God, this really is about appearances. Don't pretend it's not, she screamed. You always have to act better. Prettier wedding, perfect photos, big venue. You did this on purpose. I stared at the wall as words formed on my tongue, soft but deadly.
No, Vanessa.
I just live my life. Dad's voice boomed through the speaker. You two need to fix this. You must invite your mother, father, and sister to a second ceremony. I blinked. A second ceremony? Yes, he shouted. A real one, not some secret photo shoot. Invite the family. Do it properly. I almost laughed. Dad, we're married. Then do it again, he barked. So the family can see it. So we aren't embarrassed. Tom stiffened beside me. I said quietly, no. Mom gasped. Dad thundered. You don't get to say no. Then Tom spoke calmly, firmly, with more clarity than all of them combined. She absolutely gets to say no. It was our wedding, not yours. Mom scoffed. Oh, please stay out of this. But Tom didn't raise his voice. He just said, you skipped our wedding. You insulted her engagement. You made everything about Vanessa. And now you want a redo to protect your image. Mom sputtered. Dad tried to interrupt. Vanessa screamed something unintelligible, but Tom finished. We're not hosting a second wedding so you can pretend you cared the first time. I leaned toward the phone and said the words I knew would shatter the entire facade. Mom, Dad, you didn't lose a chance to celebrate me. You were never planning to. Silence. Pure, paralyzing silence. Then I said, and that's why we didn't invite you. Mom inhaled sharply. Dad stammered. Vanessa cursed. But I wasn't finished. We kept the wedding private because I wanted peace. Because I didn't want drama. Because I didn't want Vanessa trying to make my wedding about her. And because I didn't want negativity ruining the happiest day of my life. Mom whispered, I can't believe you'd say that. I whispered back, I can't believe you made it true. Dad erupted. If you hang up this phone, don't you ever call this house again. I stared at Tom. He nodded once. I lifted the phone and said, you don't mean that. Fine, I'll take it seriously. Then I pressed end. My parents still haven't apologized. Vanessa posted a passive-aggressive message on Facebook about classless people who chase attention. Tom and I framed one of our wedding photos from the magazine spread, not because of the venue or the glamour, but because it reminds me of something important. I finally lived a moment without shrinking for them, without apologizing, without competing, and without begging to be valued. Just me. Just us. Just happiness.